Three brothers. One family. One legacy. The Ellis brothers became one of the most respected names in Maryland basketball. But what made their story unique was how close they all were in age. Jalen and Nasir Ellis were born just 9 months apart, growing up more like twins than brothers, constantly competing with each other every single day. Right behind them was their younger brother Elijah, only a year younger, making the three almost inseparable on and off the court. Together, they built a basketball identity that became known across the DMV for toughness, chemistry, versatility, and winning. From local gyms in Maryland to national tournaments packed with scouts, everybody started to know the name, the Ellis brothers. Leading the group is Jalen Ellis, a 6'10", 240-pound power forward out of Clinton Grace High School in Maryland. A consensus 4-star recruit in the class of 2025, Jalen realistically would have been viewed as a top 6 to top 8 prospect in Maryland, and one of the more intriguing forwards in the country because of his unique play style. Jalen isn't a traditional big man. At his size, he plays with the patience and vision of a guard. He thrives as a playmaker from the mid-post, constantly creating offense for teammates while still being able to get his own bucket whenever needed. Coaches rave about his basketball IQ, decision-making, and ability to control the tempo of a game. Whether it's throwing cross-court passes, finding cutters, or initiating offense from the elbow, Jalen makes everybody around him better. Defensively, he brings just as much value. He protects the rim, rebounds at a high level, switches onto guards comfortably, and anchors the defense with communication and effort. His overall game fits perfectly into the modern style of basketball, a mid-post playmaking creator with size, physicality, and elite feel for the game. Playing with his brothers elevated Clinton Grace into one of the toughest teams in Maryland. Nasir Ellis developed into the scorer of the family, explosive offensively with a natural instinct for the basketball on defense. He could heat up quickly, pressure ball handlers, and completely shift momentum in a game. Elijah Ellis, the younger brother, emerged as the glue guy and rising star wing who impacted every area of the floor. He defended multiple positions, attacked downhill, rebounded, and made all the little winning plays coaches love. Together, the Ellis brothers faced one of the toughest schedules in the country. Clinton Grace battled powerhouse DMV programs, national prep schools, showcase tournaments, and packed gyms where college coaches filled the sidelines every night. Games against nationally respected programs became regular matchups, and the brothers continued proving they belonged on the biggest stages. Jalen's national rise truly exploded during the summer AU season with Team Boo Williams on the EYBL circuit. Against elite competition, he stood out because he never forced the game. While others chased highlights, Jalen controlled the pace, made smart reads, defended at a high level, and consistently impacted winning. That summer, he also attended Top 100 Camp, where his recruitment reached another level. Scouts praised his versatility, passing ability, and maturity, calling him one of the most unique forwards in the class. His ability to function as both a scorer and offensive facilitator separated him from most players at his position. Now, after building his reputation throughout Maryland and the national circuit, Jalen Ellis is officially committed to Villanova University, where he'll arrive this fall as a major future piece for the Wildcats. With his size, playmaking, leadership, and two-way versatility, many believe Jalen has all the tools to become the next standout forward in Villanova basketball. Nasir Ellis was never trying to be Jalen. Born just 9 months after his older brother in Marlboro, Maryland, the 6 feet 9 inches, 230-pound power forward built his own name early. Nasir became known for his scoring ability. Smooth touch around the rim, elite footwork, and the ability to create shots from all 3 levels, making him one of the toughest forwards in the country to guard. A four-star recruit and one of the top players in Maryland, Nasir's rise came fast. Coaches loved his offensive upside, but what separated him was the fact he competed just as hard on defense. Nasir thrived guarding on the perimeter. He could switch onto guards, jump passing lanes, and still hold his own in the post. His length and instincts earned him a reputation as a true ball hawk. The two brothers took different paths in AU. While Jalen played for Boo Williams in Virginia, Nasir headed to Philadelphia to run with Team Final, where his game exploded against some of the best competition on the East Coast. Throughout the summer, Nasir continued stacking offers and building momentum before reuniting with Jalen at Top 100 Camp and other national showcases, proving the Ellis brothers were both among the nation's elite. After a long recruitment process, Nasir committed to the University of Iowa. Now heading to Iowa City, he plans to form a dangerous duo with Bennett Sturts and help bring winning basketball back to the Hawkeyes program. Jalen Ellis was born on September 7, 2006. 9 months later came Nasir Ellis on June 27, 2007. Then, on April 17, 2008, came the youngest of the three brothers, Elijah Ellis. Standing 6 feet 7 inches, 212 pounds, Elijah is the next name carrying the Ellis legacy out of Prince George's County, Maryland. Unlike most prospects his age, there isn't a weakness you can easily point to in his game. He can score at all 3 levels, create for teammates, rebound, defend multiple positions, and impact winning in just about every way possible. That's why college coaches have become increasingly interested in the talented wing. After spending his final high school season alongside his older brothers, Elijah now enters the final stretch of his AAU career with New Heights NYC on the Adidas 3 SSB circuit. And this summer has changed everything. What started as a solid recruiting year has quickly turned into something much bigger. His stock continues to rise, and following Session 3, many recruiting services now view Elijah as a 4-star prospect. Major programs have taken notice. Offers continue to roll in, including from Villanova and Iowa, the same schools his brothers chose to call home. But recruiting rankings and scholarship offers only tell part of the story. For Elijah, the mission is simple: prove he belongs among the nation's elite. With the 3 SSB championship tournament right around the corner, every game matters. Every possession matters. Every scout in the gym is watching. And tonight might be his biggest test yet. Standing on the other side is Wildcat Select, a battle-tested squad led by Kansas commit TK, Villanova commit AO, Northern Kentucky commit Willie Foster, and a roster loaded with talent. The stage is set. One final tune-up before the biggest tournament of his life. One more chance to make a statement. One more opportunity to show college coaches that the next great Ellis brother isn't coming. He's already here, and it all starts now. It was an uphill battle from the opening tip. New Heights found early success through high-low action and sharp cutting, allowing Elijah Ellis to get into rhythm early. The talented wing put together a solid first half as both teams traded runs. But despite New Heights' efforts, Wildcat Select entered halftime with a lead. Coming out of the break, the game began to shift. Wildcat Select looked like a completely different team in the second half, tightening up defensively and finding another gear offensively. Possession by possession, the game slowly started to slip away from New Heights. Still, Elijah continued to battle. The 6 feet 7 inches wing finished with 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and just 1 turnover while shooting 10-for-21 from the field. Although he struggled to find his shot from deep, going 0-for-2 from 3, he remained aggressive attacking the basket and was perfect from the free throw line, knocking down all 6 attempts. His ability to get downhill and finish at the rim kept him productive throughout the night. New Heights also received valuable contributions from Temple commit Derek Morton Rivera and uncommitted guard Trey Lewis, who combined for 25 points. But it wasn't enough. Wildcat Select had answers from top to bottom, and no player was bigger than AO. The Villanova commit went toe-to-toe with Elijah for much of the game and erupted for 28 points, leading Wildcat Select to a dominant 91-69 victory and securing the #1 seed heading into the 3SSB Championship Tournament. For Elijah and New Heights, the loss leaves plenty to think about. But while the scoreboard wasn't in his favor, college coaches still took notice. Sources around the circuit indicate that Missouri, Georgetown, and San Diego State have officially offered Elijah after another strong performance from the rising wing. Illinois, Virginia, and Notre Dame continue to increase their interest and are expected to evaluate him closely during the championship tournament. Several major programs remain in attendance as well. Michigan, Ohio State, Arkansas, UCLA, and Arizona continue to monitor Elijah's progress, keeping close tabs on his development as his recruitment gains momentum. None have made a move yet, but all remain firmly in the picture heading into the biggest event of the summer. Recruiting services are beginning to take notice as well. What started as a solid summer as a 3-star prospect has quickly turned into something much bigger. Many evaluators now view Elijah as a legitimate 4-star talent, with his combination of size, versatility, athleticism, and all-around impact continuing to attract attention from major programs across the country. The regular season is over. The championship tournament is next. The question now isn't what happened against Wildcat Select. The question is how Elijah responds. Can he turn a strong summer into a breakout one? Can he prove he belongs among the nation's top wings? Can he force the biggest programs in the country to stop watching and start offering? Can he lead New Heights on one final run before his AU career comes to an end? The biggest tournament of his life is now. Following a tough loss to Wildcat Select during Session 2 in Mishawaka on May 17th, Elijah Ellis left the event frustrated. Not because of the loss itself, but because he knew he had more to give. After struggling to find his rhythm from the perimeter against Wildcat Select, Elijah made shooting his main focus heading into the final stretch of the summer. Throughout June and early July, he spent countless hours in the gym refining his mechanics and building confidence ahead of the 3SSB Championships in Rock Hill, South Carolina. A week before the tournament, New Heights arrived in Rock Hill and checked into the Cambria Hotel across from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. Before the team's first workout, Elijah headed to the gym for an individual shooting session, knocking down 22 of 36 threes and 24 of 35 mid-range jumpers. The workout quickly caught attention. Media members preparing for the event stopped by to get an early look, and clips soon began circulating among recruiting circles. Later that day, New Heights held a controlled scrimmage, where Elijah continued to show the confidence and growth he had developed over the previous several weeks. What caught the attention of college coaches wasn't a stat line. It was the response. Michigan liked the way he answered adversity. Kansas saw a player taking ownership of his development. Arizona and UCLA paid close attention to the improved shooting. Gonzaga was encouraged by his continued growth as a playmaker. Virginia appreciated the maturity and consistency. Michigan State loved the work ethic and leadership. No offers were made. No rankings changed overnight. But as coaches gathered in Rock Hill for the biggest event of the summer, one thing was becoming increasingly clear. Elijah Ellis was arriving with momentum on his side. The morning after the shooting workout and the team's first practice in Rock Hill, Elijah Ellis received an opportunity that instantly became one of the biggest moments of his summer. An invitation to a high-level run hosted by LaMelo Ball in Charlotte at the Spectrum Center. With his team already staying in the area a week before the tournament, Elijah made the short trip alongside teammates Darren and Chris. When they arrived, they found themselves surrounded by some of the best basketball talent in the country. Among the players in attendance were Seth Trimble, Isaiah Evans, Caleb Wilson, and the nation's #1 recruit, Cameron Boozer. The NBA talent was even more impressive. LaMelo Ball, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Onyeka Okongwu, John Morant, Anthony Edwards, and Con Newpel were all in the building. The runs weren't open to the public, but they also weren't completely private. Several videographers and photographers had been invited to document the day, meaning plenty of eyes would eventually see what happened inside the gym. Over 3 highly competitive games, Elijah continued to build on the momentum he he had been carrying throughout the spring. He played with confidence, rebounded at a high level, created opportunities for teammates, and made smart decisions with the ball. Despite being one of the younger players in attendance, he never looked overwhelmed by the talent around him. As the runs progressed, Elijah became more comfortable and more impactful. He wasn't trying to prove he belonged. He simply showed it. After the final game wrapped up, Elijah, Darren, and Chris made the drive back to Rock Hill. The conversation in the car centered around the experience they had just been part of. Competing against elite recruits, college stars, and NBA players wasn't something most high school players ever got the chance to do. By the time they got back to the hotel later that evening, Elijah thought the day was over. It wasn't. Over the next several hours, content from the runs began making its way online. Photos started appearing on Instagram. Short clips surfaced on basketball pages. Behind-the-scenes footage from the invited videographers and photographers slowly spread across social media. Fans started noticing a familiar face. Recruiting accounts began tagging Elijah in posts. Basketball pages started mentioning his name more frequently. "Who's the young guard in these runs? I've been seeing Elijah Ellis everywhere lately. His stock is rising fast." The attention wasn't coming from one viral highlight or a flashy moment. It was coming from the fact that every piece of content seemed to tell the same story. Elijah looked comfortable. He looked confident. And most importantly, he looked like he belonged on the floor with everyone else in the gym. As more footage continued to circulate throughout the week, the buzz surrounding Elijah only grew stronger. What started as a simple invitation to a Charlotte run had turned into another major step in his rise heading into one of the biggest tournaments of the summer.